everyone, welcome back to the channel of crafting, crochet and knitting. My name is Nikki. How are you guys doing? As always, let me know in the comment section down below. So this is probably going to be a bit of a stop-start video because I have had quite a talky week and my throat is a little bit sore. But the good news is that after a whole day viva examination, I passed, which is amazing news, and I just need to do my corrections and then pretty much that's it. That's the PhD over, which is really exciting. So yes, that has however had its effect on my voice, so every now and then I might be pausing the video so that I can take a sip of tea, like now for example. So yes, the viva is now sorted and I start my new job in just a few days. A week. I start my job really soon, so I'm super excited about that as well. However, because I had sort of all that nervous energy before my viva and I had all that stuff to show you, I have obviously since my viva been a lot calmer with my knitting and crochet. So yeah, I don't really have anything to show you this week except for a bit of a yarn haul. So at the start of this year, I said that I wasn't going to buy too much more yarn, and I stand by that. I'm going to try harder in the coming months. But obviously there have been some acquisitions. So the first and most obvious one was the one I bought basically a week after I said this in a video, which was the chunky purple yarn. Now, I did pick that up, and I picked that up because as soon as I did, I actually knew what I wanted to do with it. So seeing as I've been making my way through the projects that I have in mind for yarn, I thought it was fine to pick up 2 balls of this yarn, knowing that I knew what I wanted to do with it. And I have actually done that. Because it's so chunky, it worked up really quickly. I wanted to make cushions with it. I had to do a bit of a rethink about the pattern that I did for that, but I've got one cushion which is almost complete. It just needs some ends sort of darned, and I wanted to add some tassels to it. So that's what I've got to do with that one. And then I've got the second cushion where I've done the panels, but I still need to join those 2 panels together. And I also then obviously need to put tassels on that one too. Excuse me. And of course, on top of that, I had some left over from that chunky that I wasn't expecting, and I made the laptop case that I showed you in the previous episode. So that yarn is pretty much gone. It's taking up no room on my shelf right now, which is great. However, there is some yarn that is taking up room. And it's definitely because I saw it went all pretty colours and picked it up. So I've only kind of just got like one pack of each colour to show you, so that it's not just completely covering the couch up and I didn't have to completely raid my shelves for it. But I think it was only maybe another couple of weeks after I bought the purple chunky that they brought some DK back into stock too, and I did pick some up. So I picked up some of this lovely, what they call grape. It is a sort of a duller, more autumnal purple. I kind of always think that colours can be sort of, I guess it's high contrast and low contrast, right? So it's bright and then it's also sort of more dusky, and that's not to say it's darker. This is a darkish purple, but it's also a sort of a lower contrast purple. It's not a bright saturated in your face purple, which I definitely prefer. I definitely prefer those muted autumnal tones. So I picked up 2 of these, but I forgot that I picked up 2 of these. And a couple of weeks ago, I went back into the shop and they still had some purple. And I was riding high off of the news that I got my job offer. So I picked up what ended up being a 3rd pack of the purple. So my shelf now just like is pretty much all this purple. So that is 12 balls so far this year, just in purple, that I've bought. And then I've got this Dove Grey, it's called. And this is kind of, grey is a strange one because grey can have a few different undertones to it. You can kind of have more of a beigey grey, or you could have more of a blue or a steel esque kind of grey. And I think I would say that this is more of a beige or a greeny grey rather than a steel grey. So I don't know how much that picks up on the camera. And again, a few weeks after I bought the purple chunky yarn, when I bought the 2 packs of grape, I also bought 1 pack of this Dove Grey because I didn't have an awful lot of grey on my shelf. The grey that I had, I'd actually earmarked for a different project and was saving. But I really wanted to do the bunny pattern from the Snuggle and Playbook. There's also the hippo, which none of y'all want to see made. There's a mouse pattern, you know, there's a rhino in there as well. So there's loads of patterns that need a grey yarn, and I didn't have any, so I thought actually it was an investment piece. So even though I didn't have them like dedicated, assigned to a project at the time, I knew roughly speaking what projects they would end up being used on. But when I went back again a couple of weeks ago and I was riding high on the job news, I saw they had another thing of grey, and I thought, oh, I should probably get another grey. And I picked it up and I got home and realised that I still had loads of grey left. So, but again, that's fine. I'm probably going to do like a grello blanket. So you know how like everyone's sort of trying to avoid pinks and blues for baby stuff right now, and they're doing like more gender neutral stuff, and they're sort of doing like white, grey and yellow. So I'm going to probably do like a grello blanket at some point, but I need more white. I drastically need white. I have like one ball left. So yes, that's why I've got 2 of these. So that's now 20 balls in total. Doesn't stop there, I've got one more acquisition. This absolutely lovely aqua colour. Now on the camera this is looking a lot more blue side of the turquoise. So it still looks turquoise on the camera, but it's a definite blue hint to it rather than a sort of a green hint. This actually in real life looks a lot more like that greeny turquoise that you see in those Caribbean beautiful amazing oceans or Pacific oceans. It's definitely got more of a green tone to it. So yeah, because you know how turquoise is basically a mix of green and blue, and you kind of have so many different shades, so many ways that can combine. So I wouldn't outright say that this is a green, but I would say that there's definitely more green in this than the camera is picking up on. And it is lovely, and I don't have anything planned for this. I just saw it on the shelf and I just thought, no, actually I really have to have that. So I've got no idea what I'm going to do with it, because I'm not going to make clothes for myself out of it. It's not a colour that I wear, but I do think that it would look lovely in a blanket. At some point, a blanket that I would like to make is going to be, well, it's going to be more of a throw than a blanket because it'll be too warm to use it in summer, but I wanted to kind of do a beach coloured blanket just to throw over the back of the sofa in summer, so that, you know, it just looked a little bit brighter and a little bit nicer, especially because there's so much grey outside right now. I want to see summer colours. So that's probably what that one is going to be made into. So that's 24 balls of DK yarn in total, which I don't think is the end of the world, but I do need to try harder to not get too many more. And actually that's going to be really difficult because I've already got a blanket in mind that I'm going to definitely need about 5 balls of yarn for, and and then there was a couple of projects that I got in mind that I think, oh, I need to go and get some more yarn for that. But they are for dedicated projects, so they're going to be much more like the purple chunky that, yes, I buy it, but it goes straight back out my stash again, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. So yeah, I'm just going to take another tea break because my throat is hurting. Okay, so what else have I been buying besides yarn? I'm glad you asked. I have made a few purchases for equipment, and there is definite reason for this. So I got another one of these pouch things. They come with all the notions and they come with a set of hooks. And the hooks I wanted from this set were actually available by themselves, but it was not very much cheaper to get them by themselves than it was to get all the notions and the pouch. And actually, even though I've kind of got enough notions, I'm also of the opinion that, like, I love those needles so much, and they will break because they are plastic, so I'm sort of like, it doesn't matter to have more notions. And I also really needed more stitch markers, but the main thing is that I needed the pouch, really, because I don't have many nice little bags to stick these things in. So this is now just got the hook set in it. Now some of these hooks you might recognise from a previous yarn video because they're actually duplicates. So this set goes all the way back down to 2 mils and up to the 6 mils, that one, up to the 6 mils, and I've already got a set exactly like this. So these are duplicates, but that's fine because there are so many times where I borrow a hook from a project I've already started and I put it back after I've done the second project really absent-mindedly, and I forget that actually I need to put it back with the project that I borrowed it from. And so I end up going back to that first project and thinking, oh, what hook was I using? So having these duplicates is fine, because I can start leaving these with the projects and still having a spare one that I can go and get if I need. And I've got the ability to actually teach people, you know, more than one at a time how to do stuff. But the main reason I wanted this set was absolutely, most definitely for these ones. So these 5 here. This is a 6.5, which I do already have, but only in a an all metal handle. So it's nice to have one with the grip. And then I have a 7, an 8, a 9 and a 10mm as well. These are the main ones I got this for, because I've got so much chunky yarn now. So I've bought before the same type of chunky yarn as the purple that I made the cushions out of, but I bought it in a denim blue colour and a pumpkin spice orange colour, or a gold colour, and made scarves out of them. And at the time I committed to doing the project with a 6.5 hook, the one that didn't have the grip, and that was a bit tough because the chunky yarn is too chunky for this hook, really. It's too chunky for a 6.5. The overall effect is a very stiff sort of, it's kind of a scarf but kind of a cowl, and I decided I'm not going to frog it back and remake it in a bigger hook, because the stiffness of it actually means it folds over quite nicely, and when the buttons are added to it eventually, it's going to make a nice, warm, but also sturdy, wind-resistant scarf. So I've decided I'm going to leave it. But if I get that chunky yarn again, I do want to be able to have a better hook to use with it. When I bought the purple one, I actually decided to do a knitted pattern with it, because I knew about the fact that this hook was too small. And I went for 10mm knitting needles, and that was pretty much perfect. So when I get chunky yarn again, I can go straight to my 10mm now, which is good. And the other reason for having it is that I've actually got some yarn in my stash that's been there for about 5 years. Again, because when I went to work with it, I used my biggest hook size, my 6.5, and it was okay. It's not as thick as the chunky yarn, but it is still a bit too chunky for the 6.5. So I've got some left still that I didn't want to use until I had a bit of a better needle size for it, and I think an 8 is probably what I'm going to use with it. It's one of those velvety, like really lovely baby soft velvety yarns, and it's a lovely colour combination for something for a baby. 8mm hook for it, so that's going to be hopefully great. And then I've got some more hooks to show you in just a second. Hi, yeah, sometimes you just got to embrace the tea break. So you might remember a little while ago that I showed you my makeshift Tunisian crochet hook. Now, the reason behind this is that this interchangeable cable, which is meant to go on circular knitting needles, was actually part of a really unlucky bad batch, and the thread wouldn't fit into the needles. So I didn't really know what I was supposed to do with this, until I remembered that there was a Tunisian crochet project that I really wanted to make. And so I got my 5.5mm, my straight metal handled one. I've got 2 of these, so I got my spare one, and I blue tacked and taped the interchangeable needle, interchangeable cable even, to the hook. And it was my intention to just use this when I made the project, and it's simply because I haven't got the yarn for that project yet that I haven't made it. But since then, as I was browsing for those chunkier crochet hooks, I also came across a starter set of Tunisian crochet hooks, which were actually really affordable. And this goes all the way from like 3mm up to 10mm. You can see it's a really kind of a cheap plastic cable, but it has got a stopper on the end. It's wooden, so again that will have brought the cost down. But as a starter set, it's actually pretty impressive that I can get a set that goes all the way from 3 to 10. Yeah, so super happy with that. I am a little concerned though, so with any wood hook or needle, you have to be careful of snagging in case the quality wasn't so great. And most of these look okay, but I did see that on one of the thinner ones there was a bit of a snag, so I'm going to have to file that down a bit before I use it. The main thing I'm worried about is the shape. This has never been something that I've had to worry about before, because I pretty much work with cheap needles and cheap hooks and cheap yarn, and they all typically have the same shape, right? So they all typically have this sort of rounded notch shape to it, even if the handle's different. But these are a little bit different. These are actually more notched. Can you see that? So this is a lot more rounded by comparison, whereas this is a lot more of a notch. So I don't know how that's going to feel. We might be entering the territory now where I actually get a bit bothered about what materials and what equipment I'm using. So I'm excited to try it, but I'm also a bit concerned because it is going to feel different. And if I struggle to pull loops up with these, I feel like that's going to bother my experience. So I've actually just also spotted something potentially as well. Yeah, I think so. These have got not a super pointy end. I've seen hooks that have got a much pointier end for pushing into loops, but these are even so much blunter, stubbier ends than this. So that might be a problem too, but we will see. I don't Tunisian crochet a lot, so I'm not too worried. The Tunisian crochet projects I've done are small, and so, you know, the 5 or 6 loops that I need will fit on my normal hooks quite easily. But it was something I wanted to explore with, so we'll see. Even so, this was a very cheap set, so if it ends up just being a starter set so I can get used to the patterns of crochet, Tunisian crochet, that's fine by me. It would be a bit of a shame because there's a lot of plastic in this, and I don't like to get plastic unnecessarily. But they will do for teaching, they will do for beginning. So I'll let you know how that goes. Might do like a review of it and actually be able to tell you more about different hooks after this. So yeah. So this ended up being a little bit of a longer video than I expected, partly because of the tea breaks, I'm sure. But I just thought I'd show you a little bit of a mini yarn haul and the new equipment that I'm excited to try out, or have tried out already. I made a really cute dress, a little newborn baby dress with the 6.5mm that had a nice handle on it, and that was actually quite a nice knitting experience with a very lovely yarn. So yeah, looking forward to trying that out more. I am in a little bit of a craft lull. I started making a toy that I have mentioned on this channel but I haven't revealed, so I've kept it a little bit secret, and I am making the pattern up myself, and I keep hitting some problems, and that means frogging back and redoing, and hitting the problem and frogging back and redoing, and that's become a little bit demoralising. And then I've got another project, the red cardigan project, where I have finished the resize without adding the collar and cuff yet, and it's definitely the best size I'm going to get, but I've realised that it's not the right shape for my body, and that is going to require some adjustments. I don't know whether these adjustments are going to work, but they're the only thing I can think of besides just frogging the yarn back entirely. But this yarn now has been reworked so many times that it's not really very good for anything anymore, which is worrying because I don't want to have to waste the yarn, and I really do want to make this project work. But again, that has put a bit of a downer on my crafting experience. So yeah, I've got quite a few projects I want to get onto, and it's really only the guilt about these other two that are holding me back, really. I started on the zebra toy that you guys voted for, and with the exception of the fact that, you know, it's black yarn and the weather is absolutely rubbish for seeing your stitches of black yarn when it's grey and disgusting outside, it's going okay. I've got the head of the zebra sorted, and I'm starting on the body today, but it's slow going because of the mood. So yeah, send me some links to your, you know, your Instagrams, your Facebook feed, you know, to the photos that you've put on of your crafting experience, and give me some inspiration. Cheer me up, please, because I'm a little bit down about it. So yeah, hopefully in future videos I can sort of pick myself back up and enjoy some crafts some more. But yeah, it's just one of those things where sometimes a project just isn't going the way you wanted and puts a bit of a downer on stuff. So yeah, that kind of sucks that I'm ending this video on a low. So, you know, it's try and perk back up again. I am otherwise doing okay. Like I said, I've passed my Viva now. I've got my new job to look forward to. So those are definite things to be excited about. And I will be excited about crafts again soon. I will. I just need to find that one project that sparks my interest again and sort of gets the craft flow going. So yeah, that could be something that you provide as well. Of course, that could be some inspiration from you. I'm looking forward to seeing what you come up with. And for now, I will see you in another video. Bye.